Welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll talk about how to actually do breath work to burn more calories, right? How do you maximize your breath to burn more calories and how it ties into your metabolism, your breath work, your metabolism, and burning more calories. I mean, I think this is the holy grail, a very important conversation. So I would highly recommend you pay attention. And if you have any questions, let me know, because this is what everybody pays thousands of dollars for, thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to figure out. And sometimes they never figure out. So here it is. I'm gonna be talking about it in this video, so definitely stick around. And if you stay to the end, I'll give you a little bit of bonus tips and whatnot about how to actually do breathing correctly. But let's get into it, right? I don't like to fluff around. I wanna get straight to the point. Is like, okay, what is breath work first? Before we even get into any of that, we have to first talk about movement, metabolism, mindset. We always wanna talk about this in relation to your health and how does it actually go ahead and impact the things that you do on a daily basis to give you the results you're looking for. In Alpha, we talk about movement, metabolism, mindset, right? So movement is what this series is about, breath work and blood flow. And then metabolism, we talk about feed and fast. We'll tie it into this video. And at the same time, mindset, what is your rise ritual? What does your rest ritual look like? And we wanna know about all of that. And so in this video, we're gonna talk about breath work and we're gonna also talk about metabolism, but specifically we're gonna talk about fasting, from the feed and fast fasting. This is something that I posted a while ago on my story about when people ask me, how do you lose weight? And the first thing people wanna think about is, okay, I just gotta go to the gym, go on a treadmill, run for hours, and eventually I'll lose some weight. What they don't realize is that's actually doing a disservice to them. They're not actually losing weight. What they're losing is water weight. There's a lot of water accumulation inside of our body, like think of visceral organs and whatnot, the adipose tissue, that there's a water. And so when you're running on treadmill or walking on treadmill for long periods of time, you're just dehydrating that water, but you still have that fat within you. Now, of course, if you're going for like 5 hours, 6 hours of just walking straight, you're gonna see that you're gonna be using calories, you're gonna be using your fuels within your body to release all of that. But I don't wanna do any of that, right? That just seems like excessive work to get very minimal results. And so what I wanna talk about is, first let's touch on breath work, then we'll touch on fast from metabolism, and then we'll tie it all in together and you'll see, it'll click for you without me even telling you, right? So breath work. Breath work is the conscious act of breathing. You're breathing all the time, right? So, when people say breathe, you'll take it in and you'll let it go. You'll take it in and you'll let it go. But the problem is though, that's not enough. That's a very shallow type of breathing, and that's not gonna give you the results you're looking for. So what we have to do is actually learn how to breathe again. So this is something I teach in beginners. This is something I teach in advanced. It all makes sense if you really think about it. But we're gonna do it together, starting from the basics, set the foundation, and we'll build from there, right? So you guys ready? Everyone ready? Get comfortable. If you're standing, great. If not, sitting down, it's also fine. But what we wanna do is put our right hand on our heart. So find your heart. Your heart is on the left side. You can just follow me. So put your right hand on your heart, left hand on your belly. And what we wanna do is we wanna expand the belly, rise the chest. Expand the belly, rise the chest. We're gonna do 5 of these, but I'm gonna go to the side view and show you what that looks like so that you can do it yourself when we're doing it together. So expand the belly. I wanna exaggerate with my noise and whatnot. And then rise the chest. And then we're gonna let it go. Whew. So you're gonna inhale from the belly, inhale from the top of your chest, and then we're gonna let it go. We're gonna do 5 of these, all right? After the 5th one, we'll come back, we'll get grounded, and then we'll move on from there. So right hand on the heart, left hand on the belly, and 3, 2, 1. 1. 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, how was that? How do you feel? I feel super calm. I hope you feel super calm as well. This is what I love to do every single day, a few times a day. Some of you might feel very lightheaded. Some of you might feel tired and sleepy. You might be yawning, and that's okay. That's completely fine, because that tells me that you don't do this type of exercise. You essentially hyper-oxygenated your body, essentially shocked it and stunned it, and now you're just like, when you freeze and whatnot. That's what you're going through, but all good. The more you do this, the more you'll enhance your ability to actually accumulate and store that energy within you. So don't disregard it, but what you need to do is focus on exactly how are you mechanically breathing. That's all that matters. You do 1 breath or 50 breath or 100 breath or 1,000 breath, makes no difference, but you want to make sure you do that breath in a very, very strict control manner, in a conscious way, right? Not just you willy-nilly breathing at your own, but you consciously think like, okay, yeah, I gotta actively take it in my belly, I gotta actively put it in my chest, I'm gonna actively let it go. And this is gonna be profound for us. What we did is a biphasic inhalation, right? So we did 1 phase here, 1 phase here, and then uniphasic exhalation. We let it go all in 1 shot. And that's completely fine. You could do it slower if you want to, but it doesn't really make a difference. So with that, let's talk about now the fast part. I almost got confused, feed and fast. They're very similar, but fast is more important. Fast is essentially, most people, when they think of fasting, what are they thinking about is, okay, I'm not eating anything. And this is a very weird concept for most people, not eating throughout the day, right? Everyone and their mothers are thinking you have to eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, that's the Western diet, but in reality, there's a reason why our body was designed the way it was, right? If I put myself into the desert, what does that look like? What am I going to be able to do when I'm in the desert? How is my body going to be able to take the energy that I have stored within me and then let it go, right? This is something that our body has already thought of for many, many, many hundreds of whatever thousands of years that humans have existed. Homo sapiens have existed. And so there's a mechanism inside of our body to store fuel. When we have extra fuel that we ingest or we just don't use, it gets stored as fat, right? We talk about carbs, protein, and fat in the feed section of all the metabolism videos. But what really happens is when you deprive your body of all of those, your body has an internal reservoir or reserve of this fuel. So when you see individuals, I have very little body fat anymore, but individuals that you see, maybe your mom, dad, brother, sister, loved one, maybe even the squirrel, another squirrel in the video, they're always here, I love them. But think about what happens, that accumulation of fat around different areas of the body. I still have a little bit on my chest. I still have a little bit on my love handle, but I feel like it's more fascia and tissue more than it being fat. But let's just imagine me having a big belly right now, right? And I've had it one time, my friend. It's not pretty being skinny fat. Like when you're naturally skinny and you just have this big belly, big boobies, it doesn't look good. And so what I've thought about for a very, very long time is how do I optimize this weight loss? At the same time, I was given this question by many of my clients and customers on how to help improve their diet and their exercise for them to be able to burn the fuel that they want to build for themselves, right? So let's talk about the physiology of actually fast. Physiology of fasting, that's the key right there. When you deprive your body of food, let's just say 8 hours go by and you haven't eaten anything. And if you're one of those habitual eaters, it's funny, right? I'm making it seem like it's a bad thing. I mean, it could be technically. For me, it is. If I eat too much, I just don't feel good. But when you are eating all day and you don't eat for, let's just say, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, your body's gonna get really angry at you. It's actually gonna get so angry that you're gonna get hangry. I'm sure you felt this at one point in your life. What does it mean to be hangry, right? You just get super annoyed, frustrated, you wanna eat, you feel hungry, your stomach is growling. Not a good feeling, right? And that's really the mechanism of how your body has trained you and conditioned you on the fact that you should be eating at this time. That's your internal, you know how there's like the id, ego, and the superego and whatnot? Like the primitive side of you is essentially yelling at you like, hey, you always feed us at this time, you're not feeding us, what's going on? Think of like a dog. Every day the dog knows it's gonna get a supper or a meal at a certain time, and so the dog is salivating and doing all the reactions that happens within the body to do actually, to get ready for eating. So when their owner and whatnot puts the food on their plate, the dog is already ready to go ahead and eat the food. And our body does the exact same thing. It thinks about exactly when we're gonna eat, when the next meal is, because again, remember, hundreds of thousands of years that we've existed where we had famines, droughts, or conditions that were not conducive to human growth. So we've created mechanisms within us to make sure that that doesn't happen. So let's talk about it now. We stop eating. Now let's fast forward even more. Let's say we go down to, not down, but we go up 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, right? What do you think is happening to you right now? Your body will use all the glycogen. So glycogen is something we talk about in the metabolism video a lot with the feed. Just know that this is the first primary fuel source that your body uses once the sugars are depleted from your bloodstream, blood flow. This is cool, right? Everything ties in together. Once you remove all the glycogen from your muscles and your liver, your body is gonna be super upset with you because your body's like, okay, I need fuel. And so it goes from sugar metabolism, meaning breaking down sugars for fuel, and then it starts activating another factory. Imagine there's like multiple factories of energy production. And there's aerobic respiration where your mitochondria is taking in oxygen and creating ATP. There's also what do they call it? Wow, I just lost it. It'll come back to me, but essentially I got it, the Krebs cycle, right? How it takes the sugars, breaks it down to acetyl-CoA, and eventually allows there to be some sort of ATP creation. But then there's also, on another end, when you break down fat, it's called lipolysis. Lipolysis, there's many different terms for it, but you want to break down fat for fuel. Essentially, when you break down the fat, you break it, like those fatty chains, into small chunks, and you can feed those chunks into the Krebs cycle, and then you'll be able to generate ATP again, which is very interesting because you actually get more energy from burning fat, and that's by design. Humans have been designed by the way we store our energy. Fat is the most energy dense food, fuel, whatever you want to call it. But when you're not eating for a long period of time, you're gonna start burning fat. But mind you though, you're gonna feel super like foggy and angry and hangry because you're shifting fuel sources. What I recommend anytime you are doing like that first few days of fasting, whenever you get that hangriness, go take a nap. Go take a nap. You'll feel good when you wake up, and then the time will already be there for you to start eating, so you can go ahead and start eating. And so when you're taking that nap, your body already went ahead and shifted fuel sources. You were burning technically keto at that point. You enter keto. This is what people call keto. Because you're doing ketosis, you're burning your fats, you're making it into ketone bodies, and your ketone bodies are getting converted into all the different types of fuel that you can generate, right? So that's where the fasting comes in. And what I recommend to people if they've never done fasting before is find your tolerance, find your baseline. Go one day and your goal should be 16 hours. If you could do 16 hours, great. If you can't do 16 hours, then let's go back an hour, right? Maybe try 15 the next day. If you can't do 15, let's go back a few hours. Let's go to 12 hours. Whatever it is, right? If you need to really start from like 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, I mean, that's another story we could talk about, but in reality, you should be able to move your body and not eat for, I would say, conservatively 12 hours easy, right? But let me know in the comments below on what your tolerance level is, and then I can figure out, okay, does this make sense and whatnot. So fasting, right? So you're burning fuel. So now let's put it together, breathwork and fasting. Breathwork and fasting, how do you burn more calories? What are calories? Calories are essentially, the things that we consume that has an amount of energy. So if I were to eat a Big Mac meal, it has probably like 3,000 calories. That means if I were to blend it all up, put it into a blender, and I do analysis on that food, what I'll realize is there's enough fuel for like 3,000 plus calories, right? So when you are doing the breathing, you're actually doing respiration. You're doing aerobic respiration. And what that means is you're actually gonna go ahead and burn fuel. You're gonna be using the oxygen. You're gonna go into your mitochondria. You'll do aerobic respiration. And so when you don't have enough fuel for that, you're gonna start burning what? Fat. You're gonna start burning fat to fuel yourself. So the carbon dioxide that gets released, guess what? You can burn that through fat. You can burn that through sugars. Every type of food has some sort of carbon backbone chain. So keeping that in mind, you'll realize that undergoing breath work, doing it for a long period of time, doing it all day, doing it multiple times a day, you'll actually allow your body to burn more fat if you, again, stack this with fasting. So now imagine you're not eating, you're fasting, you're not having any fuel, but you're burning your own internal fuel, and then you're stacking this. So once you remove all the water weight, you're gonna be burning fuel like no tomorrow. Keto itself will crazy amount of energy. You'll be moving around more, you'll be burning a lot more, and overall, you'll burn a ton of calories, and essentially you'll be in a state where you will really love yourself. I mean, I love being in that state, and I think you will too. With that being said, guys, let's tie it all back together. How do you leverage your breath to then go ahead, leverage it for your fasting, put it together, burn as much calories as possible, and then go from there, right? That's the key. That's what you'll be thinking about. That's what I recommend, and you'll have a great time. With that being said, guys, if you found any value in this video, let me know by giving me a like if you liked the video. If you disliked it, go ahead and dislike the video. But what I really do enjoy are the subscriptions. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It lets me know how many of you are actually getting value from the video. And it also lets me know, okay, how should I sort of structure it? Which type of viewer are you? Are you more interested in fitness? Are you more interested in the technology aspect? All that good stuff gets sent to me by YouTube because they have all this data apparently, right? Cool. With that, I really hope that you had a great day. Enjoy the Cali weather. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.